Hello, today we are going to work on this 1972 Ford Ranchero Hot Wheels. I'm going to put this in the junkyard diorama, so it's going to need a weathering rust effect applied. The poster already drilled out. Let's go ahead and get started. Put these pieces aside. When I was a kid, I used to see these cars all over the place, and it seems like I saw a lot of green ones, so that's what color I want to make this one. I'm going to go ahead and mix up a custom green color. Yellow and blue makes green, so let's see what we get. I'm using this non-toxic apple barrel paint with a satin finish. This one's a gloss. Either way, you want a little bit of a sheen. It seems to work good for this effect. You can use flat if that's all you have, but I've been having a better effect using the gloss or satin. Sticks to these castings a lot better if you're not going to sand them or anything. So let's go ahead and mix that up. Actually, we're going to need some other blue. I don't think that's blue enough to do what I'm trying to do. There we go. See what that does. We're in the green. I don't know if that's really the color green that I wanted. Don't want to put more yellow in there, but I think it needs just a little. Alright, I don't want to be sitting here messing with this all day, but hopefully. Yeah, this green will probably work. I think it needs muddied up a little bit, so I'm going to put some chestnut in there. See what that does with it. A little bit more. There we go. I like that better. That looks 70s to me. Alright, since I don't sand this down or anything, it's important that you apply coats on the inside, especially around the pillars and doors. And as many coats as it takes to cover the car completely, so you have a whole fresh canvas with whatever color you choose. It's important to coat the inside too, like I say, because you want to seal the whole thing in so this paint doesn't come back off later. It usually takes 3 or 4 coats depending on the color. I'm surprised how well this looks like it's covering on the first coat. Yeah, that looks like a good 70s color to me. Make sure you get all those edges. I do the whole inside of the car. That way the paint is all just one solid coat over everything. All those molecules are like a chain of armor. You do this 3 or 4 coats, and this paint job should last pretty much forever. You know, unless you're going to beat it against the ground or crash it into other cars or something, and then eventually it's going to chip like any other paint. But it's still pretty durable. And it remains flexible because it's acrylic. Yeah, I think that's a good color for the Ranchero. We'll let that dry and then put it on another coat. Well, since I made up way more paint than I needed to get the color that I wanted, I'm just looking for other things laying on the table right now that could be green, like this scrap hood that's laying in the junk pile. So in order to keep from wasting it, I guess I'll find a few more things to paint green while this is waiting to dry. Since I'm waiting for paint to dry, this would be a good time to put a black wash over the grille assembly and front bumper. Now, it won't dry this dark, so you put a generous portion on and then let it sit vertically until it's dry. Then do the same with the back bumper. This would also be a good time to paint the interior. I think it will look good black. This is a flat black. I would have used a satin or gloss, but all I have right now is flat, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, that'll probably take 2 or 3 coats, at least 2. On the second coat, I like to take the brush strokes in the other direction on the large areas. When you put your weathering technique over top of it, the different patterns of the brush strokes will help give the thinned down paint places to lay until it dries. This brush texture actually helps with the effect. Okay, the Ranchero is ready for the patina effect. This green took about 4 coats. Always does normally. Still dry in there a little bit on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and go with the watered down Tuscan red. And I want it to look like there's red primer bleeding through the green. Apply a generous portion on the roof and a generous portion across the hood. And just let that dry. I'll do a little bit back here along this edge as well. And we'll let that dry. Maybe a little bit on top of the door edge as well. We can get it to stay there. I guess that I should mention that I add alcohol to this watered down paint in hopes that the alcohol will activate the green paint a little bit. Sometimes it does. It makes it crackle a little bit and kind of fuses the paints together, giving it a nice effect as it dries. Now you really can't do anything until this red color dries. It helps to put a fan on it or set it outside if it's summertime, but I'm just going to let it dry naturally with a fan here. Okay, that took a while to dry. I could have been a little less generous with the amount of red that I put on there, but I think it's going to be fine. I think I must have got a little overconfident after doing that 1/43 scale car the other day. I won't put as much this time. Let that dry. Since it's still drying, I'm going to go ahead and start painting these rims. I think they would look better chrome in the middle. I usually take this pen and do some of it and then finish the rest with a brush. Yeah, I'll have to go around it with the brush and touch it up, but they look better like that, I think. And I can do a better job when I hold this up to my face and it's not on camera. Okay, I'll get the other two. Yeah, the grill looks great, and the wheels look a lot better. Just need to touch up the black in a few spots. Maybe put a second coat on. Okay, I want to deepen this rust up a little bit, so I'm going to move on to another color. This is actually the same color, it just has some different additives, so it just goes on different, dries different. And I'm going to put some in the bed now at this point. Okay, let's let that dry. Okay, next I want to apply the burnt umber to darken up my rust. Okay, now it's dry enough for the final stage for the top, and that's to put some little dots. I'm going to do some Tuscan red first, and then we'll do some burnt umber. Okay, it's moving along nicely. I just need to do a little work on the sides now. I'm not going to go as far on the sides as I did the top, but it needs a little bit more. I like to get those normal problem areas on a car. I'll highlight these areas and then put some rust in those spots. Okay, the top's turned out great. I don't think I need to do much more to the side, but hit these normal areas that you would see rusty on the wheel wells and stuff. Maybe up here. Okay, I'll come back with burnt umber and darken those up. Maybe some back here. A little more on the tailgate. think it's done. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back together. Take it over to the junkyard diorama and try to get some nice pictures. I might need to dirty these wheels up a little bit more later, but yeah, looks pretty good. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.